Merry Christmas and good morning, afternoon, whatever, whenever I post this. Hello, I am Dan, and welcome to my Let's Play, again, where I'm Let's Playing making a game instead of playing a game. My game, Ninja Gym. So, I have not been working on the project I intended to work on. As you can see by the screen there, I have a lot of button and key prompts. So, let's talk about what I wanted to work on and then what I actually worked on. Okay, so let me move my head to the other side real quick. So, what I wanted to work on is a cutscene system. As you can see, there's the select button prompt in the little corner there, and that would start a cutscene, which I haven't made yet, because it occurred to me that that's kind of a hard-coded button prompt there. And Ninja Gym has completely customizable controls, as has my last couple games. But I use a lot of button prompts, like, let me get to a door, like the action button prompt right there. And if I want to have completely customizable controls, I need these button prompts to dynamically change depending on what button the player has selected for the action prompt, or the cutscene prompt, or the combat prompt, or the grab prompt, or whatever. All these all these need to change depending on what the player decided in the controls customization menu. So, first step, obviously, make all the images for them. But I need the system to know what the buttons are, and that's when I came up on a bit of technical debt that's been building up for 3 games now. The controls remapping system that I had was kind of absolutely garbage. So this, let me move it to make sure it's not behind my head. This is what my old controls customization system looked like. This right now is just code in Ninja Gym that isn't working. I originally made this for a game I made a few years ago, Mecha Tokyo Rush. And Mecha Tokyo Rush was an auto runner, so the only 2 buttons were jump and shoot. When the game first came out, it didn't have controls remapping. It was the most requested feature to add to the game, and because all the controls were hard-coded, took me like 2 weeks to add this, and it was garbage, and it wasn't great. But what this is working on, the way this works, is I have an options variable where the player could set what button or key they wanted to use to do the thing, and then check to see if that control was being used. So like, if the option for jump was set to 28, it would look if the A key was pressed, and if that was all done, it would say, okay, jump happened. And then, all the coding for the player character would look at this variable. And you can see I have a little KB here and GP here because there's different controls for the keyboard and the gamepad, which is a thing required by Steam to say you have keyboard support. And sure, I can have both. So both are active at the same time. This system is fine if you have a game like Mecha Tokyo Rush where there's only 2 buttons. And it worked okay for Stargirl Proxima as well. My last game, which had like 8 things. I had directional controls, jump, shoot, dash. Problem is, Ninja Gym has a lot of different things. A lot of different controls. And this was getting to be a mess. This is like every one of these is just the whole 200 lines to check everything. For everything, every single thing. It's a mess. It's awful. And as you can see, there's all after exit events. So this is basically all commented out now, because I made a new controls remapping system. I don't have the menu for it yet in Ninja Gym. The menu will probably look basically the same it did in Stargirl Proxima. But let's look at this. This is my new code. This is much, much better code. So, I'm still looking at all the buttons, but I'm doing this all once. I'm setting it to an input. So now checking A, we'll set input 28 to 1. I'm also checking, I'm doing this for all the analog ones as well, so that I can keep all the analog values. And then I'm doing this for pressed, so I have a different list. So A pressed, we'll set 28 pressed to 1. And turning all the analog values into a digital output's a little bit more code to do, but it's all right there. This is my masterpiece right here. So what's going on here? Let's take jump. We'll copy paste jump, and I can show you exactly what this code is doing. So we're taking the master controller. This is my I've mentioned it before. This is like the persistent object that handles all the game information. And we're taking, so we have the string here, prefix, which is the input underscore. And then we have the saved thing here. What's in my saved options? We will say this is 100. Should actually be in quotes. Then here we have the suffix, which is pressed. And you can see this creates a new string. So if you take all this and we compress it again to what it's coming out as, it's master controller dot input underscore 100 or whatever. And so this will look at the inputs on 100's a mouse, which is obviously not the thing that's actually set to, but this is basically this. Instead of having like a million copies of all of these for all the different controls I have one copy. I'm just kind of dynamically checking all of the variables all at once. That sounds really messy. I'm probably going to do a second take on this to explain it better. Now, I have all my controls, all my customizable controls centralized in one place. Completely robust. It checks everything. And I can check everything. Right? Cool. But that wasn't what we were talking about earlier. We were talking about prompts. As you see, this functions the best way because I have the prompt string prefix and the same saved thing from the settings. That lets me look at all the images and lets me save the image that I'm doing. So now we have like the different saved prompts on the master controller. So if I go to my action prompt here and go to draw, it uses the saved prompt image. So this dynamically changes depending on how the controls are saved by the player. I feel like I'm explaining this badly. I'm rambling. That's okay. That's okay. So, I'm going to show this real quick. I have my little temporarily sleepy save spot right here in the middle level. It's not going to stay here. But you see the action prompt comes up when I'm over top it. Blah, 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 over top of it. However, if I go to master controller, loading save, controls, I'm going to go to action right here. 203. 203 is the Y button, the yellow Y button. Actually, I should save that comment there, because this is a button I've been testing everything. I'll save this to 222. That might be behind my head. It's normally 203, which is the Y button. I'm going to set to 222. In the actual game, you won't need to manually edit the save file. There will be a menu that you can do this, like there is in my other games. So let me start this up real quick. All right, and now you can see over my little sleepy point right there, I have left trigger. It dynamically changes when I change. Let me run over run over to the dungeon over here real quick. And this is even true with like the little alert thing that comes up that shows you're going into a safe area. You see that's still there, even with the other buttons, which was originally just a hard-coded thing. Now it is not. Now it dynamically changes depending on what the player has set for controls. Is this really overkill that no one's going to change all this stuff for? Probably. I don't care. I like it. There's also a special case I coded in, where you can see there's the L for the L stick, R for the R stick. But I also have these just straight arrows without the L or R on them. If you have the L stick set for the movement controls, it's just going to use the arrows. Like, let me go this. Yeah, the special case here, where if the movement is set to between 214 and 217, it'll use just the arrows instead of the arrows with the L. That's to make it simpler because it's just presumed the L stick is for movement controls unless the player sets it otherwise. I also really don't like L3 and R3, but I haven't been able to come up with a better image for them. And the game doesn't use them by default anyway, so if the player really wants to use them, they can. But it's in there. So now I go back up here. It's all framey because I'm not in game mode for recording. So now my little select button there. It's not hard-coded. Now I can make the actual cutscene system that I wanted to make. That'll start this week, I guess. We will see how that goes. I guess I might as well do the ending here. I wasn't planning on talking anything else. This episode wasn't really planned. I kind of recorded this all in one day. But yeah. I hope you liked this episode. It wasn't a tutorial. I don't make tutorials. That's not really what I'm doing. But feel free to like pause and look at the code as I did it. It's pretty simple code for what it does. And hey, maybe one of you also does a YouTube channel. You want to turn this idea into a proper tutorial. Knock yourself out. I will see you next time. Maybe do the call to action, like and subscribe nonsense. I don't actually care that much. And I will see you next time.